Hey guys, welcome to another episode of War Divisions where I tackle the nightmare quest with MR or lower rare units or any other content I wish with lower rare units. Sorry that it's been a while. It's just been crazy with work this month, so it's hard to sit down and do edits. It's actually been kind of hard to just sit down and play the game like I want to, because there's a lot of events that have been going on that requires your full attention, and I just can't do that. But enough about that. Let's talk about this quest for FullMetal Alchemist latest MR card, which was for the raid that recently happened, and I really wanted to top that raid, but I couldn't. Anyway, so the missions for this is your standard: don't get KO, don't KO, don't hire. But also comes with 6-chain mission, and do not take more than 1500 damage. And I have to say that part of the mission made it hard to do all missions clear with this. Because that's also one of the requirements in all missions clear. So this took many tries, especially on my way to work and on my way to home. Trying to do this, I was playing for a while, trying to clear this. Partly it's because I didn't really mess around with my trust zones to accommodate for the map. I could have easily done that. But at the same time, I just don't have time sitting there randomizing trust zone abilities just to get poison resist that I won't be using too often. So with a lot of tweaking via gears and cards and using the units I used, I managed to get it done finally. So by the first set of turns was just set up, and now I'm in the position where Durando here can knock out these two, because you want to kill the bugs as soon as possible. And killing that flan will trigger these two flans coming in, which is great, because you want to kill those as soon as possible. Here I moved a little bit towards the left-right of this zombie because I want Envy to go after Mont and no one else, and Mont still has hate generation. Here I use Shadowlings because I'm trying to blind these flans, so that way both Renell and Shadowlings has a chance to dodge. And while they're taking care of the flans, Kadia here, her job is to keep Mont shielded up with her shields and remove as many debuffs as possible. Because her race did get upgraded by EX to help with debuffs and have a 50% chance of resisting debuffs. I think it gets upgraded to 100 when she gets her 140. I'm not too sure. Maybe it will happen. Not too sure. But 50 was fine. So I was able to blind both the flans here, and because of that, one flan went after Durando while the other one was in range to go after both Renell and Shadowlings, but missed because of the blindness, which is great for me. Here Kadita is gonna refresh the Calamity Guard, which is perfect for this map. I have to thank my friends Kelvin and Darren for throwing me that hint, because I tell them not to spoiled these for me, but hints are welcome, and they threw that hint at me, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna ignore the hint. And then when I realized I had to take that hint, I took the hint, and I'm glad they gave me that hint, because Calamity Guard is very much wanted in this map, for sure. So here I summon Anima, who I think is the last expert to have one of these CGI summons. I'm not too sure. I haven't seen one since Anima. I'm kind of disappointed because I like the summons, but I'm just one person. I don't know who else likes the summon. If you like the summon animations, write a comment below. But I do enjoy them. So I summon Anima here, so that way we can get a dark field. developed so that we could do more damage to these units, because we want to try to one-shot them ASAP, so that way they don't do much damage to us. Here I remove I use Asunika to remove the shackles on Renelle, but honestly I moved Kadia to the wrong position, because Envy can still do her AoE splash at this range. I should have moved her a little bit down to a bit more. That way Envy can only go after Mont with her AoE splash. Because the quickest way to fail this mission is not just the poison, but that AoE splash that Envy does. So you want to make sure your units are spread out. So you can see here, Envy does the AoE splash. Kadia, even though she still had the guard up, took 2,000 damage. She is not the bulkiest unit on this team. So I need her to not take any more damage at all. So right now, I'm in the position where I can start knocking things down one by one, but I still got to make sure I do the chain mission. In earlier runs, I was able to do the chain mission on the skeletons, but the main target you want to do the chain mission is on Envy. Even the hints kind of give you that by saying, oh, even if someone's re-raised, their chain count is still active, so take advantage of that. Because they want you to chain on Envy, but not be afraid of killing her before you're done with your chain, because the re-raise is gonna proc, and then you could continue chaining. Now, if you have a unit that removes re-raise, which is what you want on this map as well, then take that precaution. Try to take care of your chains on either the skeletons or the red flans. The red flans could take hits a bit better. That's why they're a struggle to take down. But those are your options for the 6-hit chain. Bringing a dual gunner that has 4-hit chains, or bringing in a unit with 3-hit chains is ideal. Just go with that. Obviously, you only need at least 2 elements of the same to do the element chain. And the rest of the team could be whatever you want, as long as you have a tank and someone with Calamity Guard. I think those are the 2 main things. Oh, and evasion units. Evasion units really help out, because if they could evade, then you don't take damage. And almost all the mobs here can be blind, except for Envy. They're not weak to blind, but they're not nullified to blind, so take advantage of that when you can. The bugs in the beginning, the 2 centipedes, they are weak to slow, so if that's an option in your team, utilize that if you can't kill them right away. But I just opted to try to kill them right away because they hit hard, and you just don't want them to be around. I don't care. Just kill them right away and not worry about slow. But we have units that can blind. Bring them. Shadowlings has more of a chance to do blind thanks to her EX upgrades, so she's a good choice. But there are other choices of units that could utilize blind. These rats that are on the map, they are also annoying because they will poison you right off the bat. No matter how much poison resistance you have, they will poison you. They're very weak though, but they're also evasive, so keep that in mind. As long as your accuracy and your luck are pretty good, you should be able to hit them okay. Especially if you're using evasion units, you naturally will have that luck and in your kit to help with your accuracy. Durando's knee breaker has good range, so luckily I was able to just start attacking Envy from there. Here is when I noticed everyone was grouped up, and that's a problem, because again, when she you could tell when she's gonna do her pouncing, because she would do a debuff move the turn before that lowers defense and spirit. When she does that, the next turn she will do her pouncing move. So that's what you want to keep an eye out to help you determine when you got to spread out. So that way she only targets your tank, and only your tank gets hit. When she reaches a certain percentage of health, I'll say about, like, she has about below half, like about 30% left, she will cast a buff on herself that gives her attack and agility. Don't really have to worry about that if you're hitting her hard, especially if you're building up the chains. But it's just something to keep in mind. She can be broken, her agility can be broken, her accuracy can be broken, because I did that. Other things can be broken, but she is nullified to almost everything except for frostbite. Something to keep in mind if you're going with like an ice team and you want to frostbite her, although she does have a lot AP, a big AP pool. It's just something something to consider, but it depends on how your team structure, how you want to go about it. So here I was a little worried because I knew I didn't do my my 6 chain mission, and Envy's the only one left. While I was doing that, I was trying to calamity guard as many people as I can, because I don't know, I didn't check on Monte to see how much hate he had left, so I wasn't sure if Envy was gonna still go after Mont or go after someone else. So I wanted to make sure I was far away. And here is when here is when I wanted to keep doing the chain, but when it's the unit's turn, the chain thing goes away. So here I decided to do this information to lower her accuracy and agility, and that's when she did this to pretty much raise her agility, so it kind of nullify each other. But she raised her attack too. But once she does this is when I knew I just needed to go on the offense to get her down. And luckily for me, I was saving CT by staying still, and I was able to do the 6 chain mission here just using Shadow Lynx and Renell. Those 2 units are really great for each other, by the way, so just something to keep in mind. Renell is from the acquisition quest, and Shadow Lynx you pull from the Hatcher. But we got our chain mission. I even threw in some extra damage just in case. I noticed her turn was coming up, so I moved Shadow Lynx out of there, and she does her pounce attack. Luckily, only going after Mont. I don't think there was any way for her to go after both Mont and Renell. But I used Renell's hate down ability to hopefully not be targeted, and it worked to my advantage. So here we're just knocking her down, trying to get rid of her. Kadia did her job. Shadow Lynx is going in for the final blow, and boom, all missions clear. Now I was on the train when I was doing this, so I suffered a connection issue, which I didn't even realize until I finished. I was like, oh my god, I hope this goes through. Because it was connecting, and I'm like, I don't want to do this again. So it's connecting. I was thinking about cutting this out, but I figured I just leave it here just so I could talk a little bit more. If you lasted this long, after this is going to be just the breakdown of the team and the gear. See, I hit retry here because I finally got signal was coming, and this is like the longest drum roll ever to see if I cleared the missions, and I did, and I was super happy about that. But hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, stick around for the team breakdown and the gear I use. Alright, take care. Laters. Alright guys, you just finished watching the footage. Now here's the breakdown of the team. First off, we got Mont the tank. His whole goal was just to soak up damage and take as little damage as possible with 62 defense. As long as no one else gets hit within the splash attack that Envy does, that AoE attack, things should go fine, because every other hit Mont takes is either 1,000 or less, If no one else gets hit, then that's fine. He's equipped with the Myth Graven Blade from the Final Fantasy IV event. We have the Platinum Robe at +6 because this robe gives more HP to the wearer. Has some pretty good defense and pretty good HP to boot. This is a raid item that you can farm whenever a raid comes up. And then I gave him the Sacred Step, which is Ayaka's Trustmaster reward, mainly for the Purified if it ever popped up that needed to remove the poison. We had this, plus it gives a barrier reduction, a barrier that reduces damage for 3 turns. So that's good. But in this run that I actually got all missions, it didn't really pop up. But that's pretty much it. Demon Wall is just for more defense. And I keep forgetting, Demon Wall summoning is non-elemental. Originally I had it for the idea to help out with the chain elements, but yeah, it's non-elemental, so keep that in mind. I always forget about that. Alright, so we got Kadia, who's the cleric and the MVP of this map. Mainly because of the new Calamity Guard and how they changed it up for clerics. This helps, not only gives a barrier that lasts only for one-time use, but it raises HP and nullifies poison along with all those other ones, which is just perfect as map because you don't want to get poisoned or else you're gonna fail that mission. If you have Marcherie, at 120, I don't think you have to have that at 140, but just 120 enough. Her Calamity Guard is much better, has better range, doesn't require casting, so I do recommend using her. And clerics are now decent healers. Kadia has White Mage on her sub-job, access to raise, so if I needed that, I had access to it. But the whole point of this map and these missions was to take less damage, so this subject never really came into play. Healing Mace was just to help give her healing power, but again, didn't really need it, so it's just for looks. Speaking of looks, she had the Producer's Jacket for as much bulk as possible. I think this is one of the bulkiest stuff I had that she could equip. So I did that, and then I gave her Marguerite's necklace, which grants a barrier for 3 times. So if I needed to have an instant barrier up, this was another option. Now, keep in mind that this is 3 times, and the Sacred Step is 3 turns. So just something to keep in mind if you're using any of these 2 Trustmaster rewards. And then she's on Valifor. Because this Esper is really good if you're trying to summon Espers on your mission, especially if you want to summon them sooner. I still stand by saying that this is one of the great Espers for mages to have. There's probably better ones, but I like this one just because it helps. If you're into Espers like I am, it helps summon them sooner. And of course, nowadays there's gear and cards that helps with that, but I still like this bird. Durando was here just mainly as a secondary or another attacker and a secondary healer for poison, because his monk ability gives him purification, which helps removes poison, and it's an instant cast. It's pretty much a Sunika but instant. And that's pretty much it. Like he's there to help out. This spot could be filled by any person you want. So it could be a 3rd chainer or another support unit, whatever you want. But I used him as kind of both. So he had the Gigante Axe for to boost his damage / resistance, piercing rate. The Shinra Bangle from Final Fantasy VII event. For the defense, piercing rate, and more crit damage, crit rate up. This is pretty good for him, especially if you use his own card, because he wants that crit damage. He wants the crit rate up. And then he's holding Lucio's Trustmaster just for the AP restoration per turn, because he does struggle with AP. That's why his card gives him acquire AP up, and then the idea is that you're supposed to give him a lot of acquire AP up stuff so he doesn't struggle, but I'm kind of lazy with that stuff. Shadowlings is the main DPS of this adventure. You want to, if you're trying to make sure you don't take as much damage, taking a evasion unit, or at least 2 evasion units like I did, will tremendously help, because a lot of the mobs are susceptible to blind. I won't say they're weak to blind, but they're not nullified to blind, so you have a good chance of blinding them, which will help your evasion units dodge. Even with the blind, the enemy units would try to go for a unit that they try to hit. As you saw in the footage, they would try to go out to Durando wherever they can. They'll just bypass Shadowlings and Renell. But it's still good to have evasion units for his map. But this map is kind of made for Keem Bradley, actually, and I think he's evasive. I don't have Keem Bradley, so I don't know, but I think he can be evasive if he wants to. But she's a starter show, and she has access to Dream Within the Dream, which is 3-hit damage move. That was gonna help with my Cheney, so I just built her up for as much damage as I could. So we got the Koro Kasumi, and we got the Black Garb, which I believe this is a raid item as well. So make sure you pick that up. And then she's holding bells because I want her to just attack as much as possible and kill as much as possible. Demon Chimera, because it's one of the espers she will want to hold because it has evasion nodes, stuff like that. If I had one of the cost 90 espers that give evasion, aside from Dark Odin, that's another option. Dark Odin, again, it's an option. I think it's Ifrit that has evasion nodes. I'm not too sure, but insert your evasion unit here. As long as they can evade or put up their own barriers, like Sweetheart Deirdre, for example, then you should be okay with whatever evasion unit you use. And then Renell is a secondary attacker to help with Shadowlings to do as much damage as possible, because she has two 3-hitting moves. She has Piercing Triad, and then she has Gloombound Trinity. Gloombound Trinity has the chance of inflicting blind, which was great against the bones, the undead bones, and it can work on the slimes. It could work on, like I said, almost everyone. I don't think it works on Envy herself. I believe she's nullified to blind, but everyone else you can blind them, and I do suggest trying to blind them. Also, I have access to a barrier, so to help mitigate damage. And yeah, if you do have access to Ribbon, I'd suggest you use it for this map, because those 2 centipede bugs really will mess things up, and you want to try to kill those 2 ASAP. So if you have a ribbon, equip it. If you don't have a ribbon, find some way to up your slow resistance, so that way they can't slow you down when they do their little string shock attack. She's holding Anima because I like Anima. She doesn't really have to hold this, but I need another Dark Esper for just to invoke the map with more dark resistance, lowering dark resistance for the enemies. Break their dark resistance so I can do more damage quicker. Because the quicker we kill the mobs, the less chance they have at doing damage to us. But yeah, if you have evasion units with evasion gear, I suggest you use them. I don't say have a full team, but at least have enough so that you still have a tank, and the mobs will go to the tank. And as long as the tank could take the hits, and everyone's spread out, so everything can't AoE attack more than one unit, then you'll be fine in clearing that damage threshold. Because that's honestly the toughest part about this mission, trying to get that. Other than that, I hope you found this informative, if not helpful, if not entertaining. Again, apologize for not uploading videos. May is such a busy month, and it's hard to like sit down and try to edit. But I'm gonna try to push this out ASAP. And I'll see you guys next time in the next video. Take care. Laters.